this is such an incredible, great, original story that I couldn't believe at the beginning it didn't come up with based on real events type thing. I'm just wondering where this idea came from.
Well, in a slightly weird way you could say it is based on real events, in that I saw something not dissimilar to what we read on the billboards early on in the movie, as I was going on a bus journey through America about 20 years ago. And it was something as raging and as painful and angry as the billboards that Francis McDormand's character puts up. But when I decided that something like that had been put up by a mother who'd lost her daughter through violence, the character almost started writing itself, because I just tapped into what I saw as her rage, but her drive and her provocation. It does feel like a real life story, but it was all made up from that image, from that idea.
And one of the things I love most, and there's a slight spoiler element to this question in some ways, I guess, but is the character of Sam's character, the journey that he kind of goes on. I mean, I wouldn't have said half an hour into that film that I'm going to even have a semblance of sympathy or like this character. So how did you manage to pull that off? I mean, he's quite nasty to begin with, but by the end, you're just so endeared to him.
I think it's about seeing, he is he's a horrible pig pretty much at the start. But I guess you try to see the humanity in all of the characters. It's easy to see the humanity in Frances' character because she's the grieving mother. But also you want to show that in places she's not the perfect hero or heroine of the film either. Her drive sometimes, or oftentimes, takes no prisoners, and that means innocent people can get hurt too because of this war she's raging. But Sam's character, I just didn't want to portray him as simplistic and one-dimensional and thuggish, and even though you show those ideas or those layers at the start, you want to peel off those layers too to show the human being behind all of those types of people, and the point of the film was not to be as judgmental about characters like this as one might usually be in an American or in a Hollywood movie, to show that there's hope maybe if you kind of go deep down and see why people are behaving this way and see if they can change.
It probably helps as well that when he was listening to music, it was Abba he was cheering for.
You got to love that. That was it. That was mine. Sam was actually dancing to some proper cool reggae stuff, but I decided that his character would be more of an Abba fan. Yeah. And the dancing doesn't quite match the tune, and I think that's good too because he's just a bad dancer.
And I mean, he's an actor that you've worked with on a few occasions, and that is sort of something you have done a few times. You like to pick people that you've worked with before. I mean, that just must breed a real kind of nice sense of comfortability on a set when you've got those kind of regular faces. Yeah,
that's a large part of it. But also, once you find a really good actor like Sam or like Woody or like lots of the people in smaller parts in this too, Jelko, who was in all three films. You just want to keep working with good actors who are nice people, and I hope to keep doing that. Like, there used to be sort of movie repertory companies to a degree, like Sam Peckinpah would have the same faces in a lot of his films, and Preston Sturges for sure in an earlier era. And there's so it's not just the comfort; it's kind of building like a tapestry of movies, where you see old friends doing very new things, because Sam's character in this is way different to his Seven Psychos one, and Woody is completely the opposite of his Seven Psychos persona.
Well, I literally just downstairs interviewed Colin Farrell, so no room for him in this one. That's a bit awkward. Did you know he's downstairs?
I did. I saw Killing of the Sacred Deer a couple of nights ago, and I loved it actually. I saw him then. We'll work together again soon. He knows that. You can't cram every single one into all of them.
We can try. And also, I mean, obviously, congratulations on the award in Toronto. It's an incredible achievement.
Thanks. Yeah.
That must mean so much, particularly when that's an audience award. I mean, obviously, it's great when the jury are voting, but with films like this, it must be so great when you know it's been voted for by the audience, by the people.
Yeah, I mean, and I sat in one of those audiences, and it was quite palpable how much they were going for it, which was a shock because it was only the second time that people, like real people, had sat in an audience and seen it. And you worry. I mean, you wonder if all the aspects of the film are going to go over, or if the darkness is going to take over and they're not going to get the comedy so much. But of course, with comedy, you can always hear if it's working, and the roars of laughter and the applause in some places for some of the things that Francis does was kind of like, shocking and show-stopping. And that's when I kind of thought, well, this could have a bit more of a life than I thought it might originally.
Do you need an audience for that to sort of get into to enjoy it? Because I guess at some stage it must be so difficult to determine how good something is when you've been working so hard on it. But do you need an audience to see it to go, oh, actually, okay, this could be quite...
Yeah, especially for the humour, I think. You don't really know until you set it in front of people. And that helps with the pacing too, because you're always kind of hoping there'll be a laugh and giving room for that laugh to happen before you come in with the next beat. Of course, if there's no laugh, then it just looks like they're waiting for something that didn't happen. But the great thing about the Toronto screening was the surfing of those laughs was perfect, and then the kind of punchlines hit, exactly. It couldn't have gone better, really.
Yeah. So what's next? Have you started working on the next one yet?
No, I'm kind of I've written a script that's actually trying to get Colin, Farrell, and Brendan Gleeson back together.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but it's not quite good. I don't want to follow up this one, which I think is really good, with something that's not as good. So I've got to do a bit more work on that one. And I'd like to get Sam and Christopher Walken back together at some point, so I want to do something like that. But also because I loved working with Frances on this, I want to work with her again, but I also loved a female lead in a film who was so strong. I kind of want to do something with two next time, maybe younger, and see where that goes. Because there was a joy to this character, and Frances's playing of it, that kind of you didn't know what was going to happen next with her. And I think if you can capture that in a female lead or two female leads, you're on a winner.
Brilliant. Thanks so much for your time today. Much
Cheers.
appreciated.
Thanks a lot.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey, you guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yeah.
Nice.
Hey,